Hi everyone, glad to see you again on my channel Understanding ESG. You probably watched my previous videos and the videos of other sustainability experts on the ESG topic, read a lot of complex and technical papers. You know that a lot of information is there. But a question that a lot of small and medium-sized companies ask: where do I start? What can my company do? I don't envy you. There is no one website where you can go, have a step plan and apply it straight to your business. You need to collect information from many sources. But to be honest, it's not as bad as it seems. Little by little, step by step, you will increase your ESG knowledge and experience and your confidence in this subject. And I'm sure one day you will set the best industry practice. This video is less formal, so let's go. Here are your 5 steps to start. Step 1. Assess your value chain. Value chain refers to the full life cycle of a product or a process, starting from material sourcing, production, consumption, use, disposal or recycling. Greenhouse gas protocol defines value chain as all upstream and downstream activities of the reporting company. The only reason that I'm dwelling on the definition of the value chain is to point out to you that it's a starting point. Simplistically, value chain includes 4 stages: design and product development, production that includes sourcing of raw materials, logistics, manufacturing products or offering a service. The third, marketing and sales. And third is consumption, use and disposal after use, and which includes recycling. In case of circular economy, stage 4 will become stage 1 and 2 for other businesses. On one of the trainings, I heard this advice to understand the value chain. Follow the money. Assess upstream what you pay and to whom, and assess downstream what makes up your revenue. My core skill set is around real estate, but let's experiment in this video and take a coffee shop as an example. Just to mention again that this is just an example and you can do similar to your business. So take a piece of paper or do it on your laptop and put the company in the center. Underneath its name, list what activities your company will be doing without outsourcing. In our example, it will be making coffees and selling it with pastries. Now let's identify your geographical location for legislative compliance, for climate risks assessment, for engagement with local community. And we assume that this coffee shop is just in Guildford, that it's one coffee shop, no franchise, no chain. Now let's identify employees, how many people will be working in your coffee shop, working hours and type of employment. Now plot above its stakeholders, their geographical location if different to yours, and in few words, let's describe their roles. For example, on the left-hand side, we can put authorities, and they are responsible to issue us a permit to operate. The owners are responsible for funding and managing the coffee shop. Employees, as we indicated before, are responsible to make coffee, sell coffees and pastries, and do the daily management and operation of a coffee shop. Our third group of stakeholders are customers. They are purchasing the coffees and pastries, and they are disposing of the cups and packaging. Now draw a line for all stages of the value chain we have identified previously. I will draw and identify 3 stages: production, sales, consumption or use, and I will be merging here a little bit disposal or waste generation, just to the nature of the business and the very small gap between the consumption, use and disposal. Under production, let's identify another group of stakeholders, which is important, is suppliers. Now we will identify the suppliers of raw materials for our business. In our case, it will be coffee beans and other ingredients, including pastry suppliers. We need to identify who and from where the coffee beans will be delivered to us, whether it will be directly from Kenya or from the UK distributor, and whether it will be like beans that you will be roasting at your premises or it will be already roast beans. Pastries, let's assume that they will be local. Beyond the sales, activities are rather obvious. It's selling coffee and pastries to the customers. The next stage of the value chain, consumption or use and disposal, is again represented by customers, and we already identified their roles and activities. Here we can just duplicate their activities. It's buying coffees and pastries and generating waste. Now, following arrows from left to right, you can see now who and what activities impact your business and which stakeholders and what activities your business impacts on. Now we need to understand the sustainability context, and I suggest the concept where ESG relates to the risks and sustainability relates to opportunities and positive impact. Step number 2. We need now to understand what risks your company is exposed to at each stage of the value chain. We need to understand actual and potential risks, or you may refer to them as negative impacts. If you have no idea what this might be, there are a few free resources that can help you with this. Let's take one of them, and it will be the SASB website. To remind you, SASB stands for Sustainability Accounting Standards Board. You can search your business activities and will get a list of relevant issues. For example, for our coffee shop, those will be energy management for environment and supply chain management for governance. If you operate in the real estate industry, GRESP has a wonderful free tool that is called materiality assessment. You can also refer to GRI standards. They have universal standards that are applicable to all companies and sector-specific topics and requirements for disclosure. This can be a good start for you too. So again, let's take production stage to assess the risks. On environmental side, you will consider where your coffee beans are coming from, even if you are working with a local distributor of coffee. You need to select your supplier responsibly to make sure that you are not taking an indirect part in negative impacts that are associated with this industry, such as deforestation, water scarcity, water pollution, and waste. During the operation of a coffee shop, we also need to be mindful of energy consumption, water consumption, and the waste we generate, so that we don't make it worse before we have our coffee shop open. When you are considering social risks, again through the prism of our coffee shop, let's think, if the coffee beans are coming from the countries where the risks of child or forced labor are high, again it comes down to selecting your supplier who directly owns the coffee farms or who works with coffee farms, where these risks of child and forced labor are avoided, where farm workers are paid adequately and are provided reasonable working conditions. The risks and the topics that governance will consider are probably more familiar to you. This will include to manage your upstream value chain and other risks related with business administration, food quality control, ensuring customer satisfaction, and obviously meeting the sales targets. You will say to me that my coffee shop is tiny. What can I do in this huge industry where I have no control? Yes, your capacity to change the whole industry is quite limited, but there are still things that are within your control and things that you can do. You can send questionnaires and surveys to the suppliers to assess the mentioned risks. You can request audit and health and safety reports from the suppliers as well. You are their customer and they are interested in you, and you are entitled to ask questions. Once we have identified all these risks, we need to label them direct and indirect to assess your impact, actual and potential, and then think of likelihood of these risks materializing and the severity of an impact. The risks that have the most impact, despite how likely they are to happen, shall be your focus area. Step 3. Identify your opportunities, your positive impacts. Let's try to find opportunities and positive impact that your company can bring. And if we carry on with an example of a coffee shop, what comes first to my mind is, for example, suspended coffee or caffè sospeso. It's an Italian tradition when one buys the coffee for himself and pays for one extra drink for those who can't afford it and who can pick this up later during the day. I think it's an amazing engagement with the social community. Such an empathic approach will definitely drive attention and support from your customers. Another one is, say, coffee cups. It is known that existing paper recycling centers are struggling to separate the paper fibers from polymer lining that is used in coffee cups for hot drinks. So the coffee cups are rarely recyclable. But even if they were recycled, it's still an extra waste that can be avoided. So the best is to use reusable coffee cups. And you can incentivize your customers to use reusable coffee cups. Take a look and try to calculate the cost of the disposable cup or the cost of energy, equipment amortization, washing up liquid that you use to wash the crockery. This probably will be around 40-50p. This is quite something for users, especially for those who buy your coffee every single day. By the end of the week, they can earn themselves one extra cup of coffee. And the last but not the least is the coffee waste. It's very harmful for the environment. It produces a very powerful greenhouse gas called methane, which is much stronger than carbon dioxide. You can check if your coffee waste can be sold or given away to local companies that use it as raw materials for production of fertilizers or biofuels. If you manage to do that, this is amazing, because this is a part of a circular economy we all strive to achieve. Step 4. Define metrics for your risks and opportunities. The work that you have done above in steps 1, 2 and 3 will now enable you to define metrics to assess your risks and opportunities, or say overall ESG performance. Let's stick here to the basic ones to start with. Energy and water consumption, waste generated and recycled, working out your scope and 1 emissions based on your activity data that you have, and maybe a few steps later you can start assessing spend-based activities to assess your scope 3 impacts. Based on your sales, you can have stats on the Café Sospeso or users that brought their reusable coffee cups to buy your coffee. Step number 5, the last but not the least, collect data and report. Now we have everything to start collecting the data. I would suggest for small and medium-sized companies to do it at least once in a quarter to avoid forgetting or missing things. You can have digital logbooks where you can track all the metrics that you have defined for yourself. This can be a solid foundation for your storytelling, and then you can start communicating this to your customers and be sure that you will have evidence and actions behind them. Do you need policies and procedures at this stage? I would say yes, but being a small or medium-sized company, your policy needs to be short, actions in them clear and easy to perform. Avoid difficult language, avoid general phrases, list the actions and the way how these actions can be measured. That's it, start here. I think this is more than enough for a small or medium company to start with. Your knowledge and experience will grow, and this will drive asking more questions, correcting previous actions, and potentially putting new policies and practices in place. Good luck! Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, click like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you again. Bye!